terms of fitness, in terms of diet, in terms of my mind, reading more books, getting more experience, travel experiences, and then my career-wise is going up and up. So for me, life never settle for the less, and that's like self-improvement. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back. Today's video is something that I've talked about in like 6 months ago back in Europe, Poland, and today I'm gonna be revisiting the same topic, which is about, are Japanese men considered attractive in overseas or abroad? And I'm not gonna talk about specifically about that topic, but I was going through all the comments and I see like somebody commented on my reply, and stuff that I mentioned in my comment section was pretty accurate 6 months after that, maybe actually 7 months. I posted that comment maybe 6 months ago, and then recently, today is May of 2018, end of May, and what's happening right now in this modern society, especially in Japan, is the power harassment by a coach in American football team in Japan, University of Japan, Nihon Daigaku, and how they had a bullying system. Like the power dynamics has been pretty weird. People are bullying and power harassing students, players, and other people talked about how that is basically tip of iceberg of whole Japanese society and Japanese politicians and all that stuff. And I was saying exactly that. I was pretty much predicting this was gonna happen. So I will show you the exact video that I'm talking about. So I posted this video. I know it's display is pretty reflecting back on light, so it's hard to see, but I posted this video in Poland. Exact date would be October 8th of 2017, right? And then because it just showed up on my recommendation, I was like, oh, that's my video. So I sometimes check on the comments, because I don't follow all the comments, and top comments I read, and I saw my own reply basically. And but yeah, by the way, since this last video last October, I gained so much size, and today especially, I don't know lighting's right, but pretty pumped. It's because I worked out yesterday, and I'll show you, the pump is crazy. Also I lost my body fat, so it's it's more like a veiny vascular. But anyways, back to the topic. Hold on, the Wi-Fi is shitty here by the window. Shit. Alright, so I got the Wi-Fi, and see the comments. First comment is this one. I'm gonna take a screenshot of this, but basically he's saying blah blah blah. サシさんの動画ちょくちょく見るけど、視聴者に向けてすごい言葉を選んでいるような気がする。本当に閉鎖的、保守的な日本や日本社会に対してもっといろんなことをぶちまけたいだろうに、コメント欄を見てもひねくれた発言が多いし、こういう陰湿性がすごく嫌だろうに、でも自分の過去や常識知識をオープンにしようとしてくれてるし、海外から日本を批判してくれる日本人って実はありがたいもの。派遣と毎晩トーフル勉強の話は泣けた。自分で幸せをつかもうと常に努力する勇敢なサシさんを応援してます。 Good luck, blah sort blah blah blah. And really it's about the comment, reply that I posted here, which is this one. Alright, so I'm going to read that up, but basically this is exactly talking about what is happening in Japan right now. Japan University, Nihon Daigaku no amefuto football, American football's the coach kind of half-ass ordering the students, the players, to attack other players, and that was kind of a tip of iceberg about Japanese society, power harassment, and how people it's in a hierarchical system. So I said I wanted to share my honest perspective from outside Japan, but unfortunately, there are many negative things about Japan that I started noticing. Not just Japan, I noticed many negative things, especially about United States, and less bad things I noticed about Canada as well. But let's talk about Japan in this case. I'm not saying Japan is the only bad country. I mean, like a country with many bad sides. Every country has positive downsides. But anyways, let's talk about Japan. Japan is a country full of history and great foods. If they could have enriched and improved their people culture as much as their food and architectural aspect of their culture, like temple shrines and sushi, then Japan would have been a really great country. However, I know you want to be honest about things, and Japanese don't treat people as nice and authentic manners as some other Western countries. In terms of work-life balance, it's shit. It's one of the worst countries with work-life balance in developed countries, right? Its social welfare is not that great. I mean, way behind other developed countries. Highest suicide rate, nasty bullying, and power harassment, which is exactly what is happening in Japan now for the past 4 weeks. Power harassment, bullying system, the whole system, the whole society as a system doesn't want you to be happy and successful. They want to tame you just like a slave into a submissive yes man. You've probably heard about the Japanese people can never say no. They're pretty much a yes man because they grew up being educated to say yes in an education system in a society. Yeah. So meaning the education system is designed to create non-critical memorization machines who in turn go to traditional companies after school, and then they just obey orders from their bosses without much of a say. They can't really say much. Their opinions are not really respected if you're young or if you're bottom of the hierarchy, right? And at the Japanese companies, there are not much opinions, not much options because they cannot switch jobs easily. It's kind of frowned upon. So they need to work long ass hours, put up with shitty bosses complaining or micromanagement. Some companies' boss, ask employees to report them every time they go to the bathroom. So that is like worse than micromanagement, right? And some people get so tired of it, they commit suicide. It's a bullying system. That's why there's no such a phrase in Japanese called personal happiness. That's why there's no such a phrase personal happiness exists in Japan, because when people catch you saying personal happiness, I want to be happy, everybody starts shaming you, like, oh, you're a bad person, you're a selfish person, self-centered, you're not considerate enough, blah blah blah, egotistical, narcissistic. If you focus too much on your life, your happiness, your growth, your career, and then people's gonna start pointing finger at you, like, you are too self-centered, egotistical, which is not completely true, but that's like a mentality in Japanese society. So what they didn't know was Japan's society has been lacking some of the elements of humanity and mental welfare, like enriching their mind, right? Since the time back in wars, WW2 and WW1, like if you know about history, how Japanese army was treating their entire army and people as just dispensable resources, dispensable as like replaceable. They don't treat armies as good as the United States, so that's where the harakiri, that they had the bamboo stick to fight against the American armies, right? And also they do kamikaze tokotai to basically to kill themselves, to kill American army or whatever. So they don't really value their lives, so they are not valued their lives as much as in other armies. So something like that I was talking about. And let's move on. So that kind of mentality, like too much focus on mental aspect, coming from like Bushido, Judo, Aikido, Kendo. They focus so much on mental side, which is not bad, but extreme is not always good, right? So the important thing is to have a balance. But they focus too much on mental strength. They didn't focus so much on physical strength or science. That's still being prevailing in current sports industry in Japan as well. Think about baseball. Many old people just still they still insist on training and practicing long hours, running long distance, even if you're playing baseball, and they don't really incorporate they're adapting to a new and more scientific way of training, like weightlifting, like that. But so many more people are actually opposing to that idea. So think about Yu Darvish, doing weight training, and so many people are opposed to it because of whatever the traditional thinking way have been teaching them to believe what is good or what is bad, right? Let's move on. And somebody needs to call them out. Somebody needs to call them out. Otherwise, in Japan, they would never know if what they can improve or what they cannot improve, because I don't want to hide. I don't want to sugarcoat, just to make them feel good or to just please them. So so that's that, and then it got so toxic, blah blah blah. Anyway, so yeah, after that, I know I can improve my blah blah blah. I can skip that. And then I said that at the end of the comment, they will probably never understand the perspective from outside, because they will live inside, meaning inside Japan. The bubble, the Japan bubble, right? It's a strong layers bubble, their own worlds, really strong, unique sense of bubble, which is not bad, but sometimes it's not. They create labs for information to come in, or new ways to do stuff. For example, like social welfare, it's lacking. Science, it's lagging. Personal happiness, lagging. So many things are lagging because of the island culture, Galapagos. So, blah blah blah. It's a homogeneous culture that it lacks embracing diversity in a different perspective. So, blah blah blah. But anyways, I wanted to kind of say, reiterate what I was talking about, how Japanese society in Japan is really closed, and there's still bullying system, power harassment, how elder people like to just maintain their own power and their interest, but as a society, it's not really equal and fair to younger generations, and then that got manifested right now because of that American football coach and the student players that incident. And 6 months ago I posted this. Now thinking back, I was like, holy shit, what I said was right. It just got manifested. It just showed up. There's so many. This is just a tip of iceberg. And then I knew this from 10 years ago when I was in Japan. I worked at tech company for 2 years. I did a contract work for 2 years when I was studying for TOEFL, and I felt like that hierarchy, power system, and how everything is so rigid and hierarchical, structured, and people like to obey the order as opposed to questioning or trying to change anything. Their main focus was to not break the system, try to follow the order, say yes, be more submissive, and don't question the system, don't question the power. That's the whole mentality of Japan. That's why it's so orderly. It's good and bad. Good in that it'll have stronger orders in society. Kind of same like in Germany. Didn't tell you that until now, but I'm actually in Germany, Munich right now. I moved to Germany from Canada, Vancouver, for the permanent move. But I talked to some Germans as well, been looking for apartment, and they said a similar thing. Actually, Germany and Japan are kind of similar in that they like to follow orders, and they have a meticulous, really strong rules in society. And I was reading a lot about articles in English about German culture, how people behave and stuff, like difference between Western, North American, and the German culture, and people-wise. Somebody said there's a phrase called every German has inner police within them. Inner police meaning they have kind of like being a police, kind of being watching out for somebody not breaking rules and stuff. So if you're trying to like jaywalk, or if you try to do something that is out of order, some people is gonna criticize or try to scold you. That's kind of mentality of Germany, and I was a little bit scared if I get called out when I do a jaywalking or cross the street when the sign's red. It hasn't happened to me, but I took a mental note that in Germany people like to follow the order and they like to preserve the order, which is good and bad. But sometimes flexibility is also important. I like to have that. I like North American, like West Coast culture, more free and chill and laid back, more happy and carefree. As opposed to here, it's more uptight, orderly, and they don't question much. Like it's a negotiation. Like in North America, you need to negotiate. If you're not negotiating, you're not like good enough. You're too naive to negotiate. They're more like they need to go for what you want. You need to assert what you want, money, salary, everything, because it's survival. And the company is not gonna give you what the best offer they can, because they're gonna test you. Whereas in Europe, I guess in Germany, I think it's a little bit toned down. It's just my guess. I did still negotiate for an offer because it's an international job. But anyways, so that's what I wanted to talk about from Germany. I didn't believe 6 months from that video in Poland I posted. I didn't believe I would move to Europe for permanent job. And also in terms of I've been always improving myself. Every single year I've been improving. I'm getting better version of myself in terms of fitness, in terms of diet, in terms of my mind, reading more books, getting more experience, travel experiences, and then my career-wise is going up and up. So for me, life never settle for the less, and that's like self-improvement thing. I don't talk about that much in my YouTube videos about it, but if you see my video, these recent videos, and if you compare that with 6 months ago, I did totally different 6 months ago. That video showed you I had so much more face fat, and my body wise it's quite different right now, after finishing up fitness competition. Anyways, I'm still at the hostel. I'm looking for apartment, and yeah, life goes on like that. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Just wanted to say, still like so many things have been true. Like it comes down to self-awareness. It comes down to your conscious mind to be able to tell and be aware of so many things. Because not many people at school teach you about little things like how society works, or power dynamics, or power harassment, or this culture is lacking A and B and C. You need to build that kind of self-awareness, and you need to go for what you want, because nobody's gonna teach you how to be happy. You need to find out. You need to be resourceful and find information, and then go explore other world, because Japan is not the only world in this planet, right? There's so many other ways, better ways, worse ways. I'm not saying Japan is always bad. They have great food and culture, so I like to take advantage of that. But when it comes to working and living, Japan is not good. It's just a reality. So it comes down to pick what fits you the best. What suits you the best. And if you decide to live in Japan, that's great. I want to live in Japan too, if I can have a achieve a work-life balance. But other than that, don't be so close-minded. Don't be so be protective and defensive when you hear when you hear negative things about Japan. Be open to accept it, because not every country is perfect. Canada has downside, United States has downside. It's not about being perfect. It's about you can have an option to choose which country to live and work if you have ability and skills. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not saying you need to live in Japan, or you need to live in Germany or Canada or Australia. It's up to you. It's option, right? More option you have, the more power you can have, and more freedom you can have, more abundance you can have. That's all it's about. Life is all about that. Everybody has different tastes, but don't be just so close-minded. Or you don't want to be in a position where only place you can live is Japan, because you're so limited by your life skill, language skill, your professional skill. There's no other option than living in that. Some people might like it, but I don't like it. So if you're more open-minded, if you are more adventurous, if you are more
spontaneous and going for what you want, you know, bettering your life, bettering your career, bettering your work-life balance, then, you know, looking outside is going to give you more options because there are so many things that are better outside of Japan. Vice versa, food sucks in Europe, and I kind of miss Japanese food, like in Thailand, you know. So it's just, you know, it's a balance. It comes down to balance. There's no perfect country for everybody. So thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna go find the apartment. I'm gonna go view the apartment, and yeah, my new job is starting this Friday, so I gotta get settled down. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time. All right, bye bye.